Alright, what's up, everyone? It is your boy Shazman21. And usually I'll be, a little jolly, just saying, like, hey yo, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Shazman21. But nah, we ain't gonna be doing that today. Or today. We ain't gonna be doing all that tonight because, it's a lot of ranting and a lot of, like, confusion going on because, let's just say I just been having this on the top of my mind for quite a long time, and that is this whole idea about this thing going on with Marvel, and you know, as this this is like really disappointing for me to like really like talk about this, considering like Marvel is one of my most favorite places to check out with Spider-Man, with you know every other character to Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Wolverine, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just your normal shit. And sometimes like the stories are really good. Oh, even Thor, for example. Yeah, that one was really good. But just I feel like nowadays, just with maybe it's a comic book as a whole, but it's just like it's gotten to a point where it's just I don't really like the direction that they're going in, especially with Marvel. Like it. I mean, don't even get me started with what's going on with again, Spider Man. Yeah, ZW doing what the hell ever, just ruining the legacy that is, Spider Man. And also, speaking of ruining legacies, apparently, the MCU is trying to change up the name of the X Men to something more ridiculous. Which the thing is, it's so stupid because like the whole idea about the X Men is that they're based off of again oppressed people, you know, of a certain color. You know what I'm saying, that we were dealing with from the fucking 1960s and 50s, where the racism was like at an all-time high, like at a really all-time high. And the fact that they're changing something like super super significant all because of the name X-Men. And not only just X-Men, mind you, they're more worried about the name Men. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, of all things you got to be worried about with X-Men, you got to worry about the fact that it's called Men. There's a man in there, like MAN or whatever. It's like it's just so stupid. Like it's like they're trying to change up so much of like everything that's like that holds these characters, and just doing it in just the most ridiculous ways possible. And I just got just like detached from that for so long because they just kept on doing it. Hell, the whole like situation with the one more day situation from a very long time ago, where apparently you know they pretty much completely retconned the whole relationship between Peter Parker and Mary Jane, where it's like they were supposed to get married and have kids, but then instead Mephisto appears because like apparently Aunt May is dying, and Peter Parker has like make an ultimatum of like oh if you go with Mary Jane and whatnot, there goes your auntie, or if you choose your auntie, there goes your relationship. And of course Peter Parker has to like choose you know um Aunt May or whatnot. The thing is, it's just I don't know. It's just, the whole entire story was stupid. And to like think like it was created because of Marvel editorials, even at the time too, just like afraid of just having the character grow, which is just so stupid. And I don't know. It's just that's the problem. I'm starting to feel like it just starts to like starts to become a common pattern. Like hell, that even happened with the whole situation with Batman and or no, Bruce Wayne and Celia Kyle, where apparently they're not supposed to get together because that's gonna like mess up the status quo of who Batman is. Batman's supposed to be a loner, and he's not supposed to have like connections. Despite creating a Bat family, starting with Dick Grayson, then Jason Todd, then Tim Drake, and then later Damian Wayne, Batgirl, what was her name, Barbara Gordon, and all this other stuff. It's like, despite creating that, he cannot be happy and have a family, or even just at least be with, Catwoman, stealing Kyle, because like that's always been like a thing. You know, it's just funny. That's just what they do, or just being indecisive of what Nightwing should date. I mean, of course, that's a different story because hey, Nightwing his Riz is on a different level, so my boy be doing his thing, but otherwise, we all know his true love is either Barbara Gordon or Starfire. But for me, you know, I grew up with the Teen Titans show, so like for me personally, it's Starfire. Now for others, it would be Barbara Gordon because of the comics and also for other media, which hey, that's fine, like that's cool. Like I also can see that as well. But like for me growing up, it's that. But anyways, I'm getting off topic about that. I'm feeling ranty right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that. And then on top of that, just a lot of just other stuff going on with video games too, where apparently they don't make their characters look as attractive because they want it to be a little bit more relatable. But I don't know, just this like weird demonization of attractive people apparently in video games, like for example Horizon Zero Dawn, um, Mortal Kombat to a certain extent, with like a few characters and here and there, and just other stuff that honestly that warrants another video of talking about. But it's mostly gonna be strictly, I'm just gonna stick to just Marvel, just in general, because again, it's just disappointing to like see like a product that I pretty much grew up on, all of a sudden, just have this weird nosedive where it's just like it's not doing as well. Even like the current situation with the MCU, where I don't know what they're doing with that situation, because the only thing that's been like sort of holding it okay is like maybe the secret evasions, but ever since like Avengers Endgame, it's just been really tough to like get there. Now I've heard that with the exception of like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I've heard it was really good. Any other movie, and I guess to a certain extent the show is just not that great. So I don't know, man. It is really disappointing to see the trajectory of what's going on with the current product of Marvel, man. It really is. It's like they're pretty much just like ruining legacy characters and just bastardizing what made these characters who they are. And I don't know. It's just, I'm not saying too much onto like we should all go back to a time period where it was just like that. It was just more just like I just wish that they could like make a consistent storyline where it's like they don't like always continue to always repeat the same thing over and over again. Like honestly, personally, I would, again, for Spider-Man, I would just love to just see Spider-Man or Peter Parker or whatnot just finally grow as a character, because this whole keeping him in the status quo of keeping him young and fresh and just always staying like high school and college age and just like pretty much telling the same story that we've been like told like so many times, from like the video games to the show to the movies to the original comic book. Like at this point it's just gotten redundant that we already pretty much know a lot about Spider-Man's origin story. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only like do so much with that, and it just starts to lose its appeal. So nah, just keeping him in this like weird status quo where he's not supposed to be in a relationship with Mary Jane of all people, despite the fact that again, how Stanley originally intended was again for Gwen Stacy and him, Peter Parker, to be together, but for stupid shock values they want to kill off characters because shock value. Of course, it's just it's so dumb. It reminds me of like The Walking Dead. Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh man, did that series just like went down the hill, just because of just the fact that they just kept on killing characters after characters after characters that are like also very important. Hell, even like for example, they like kept Gwen alive for quite a long time till like they pretty much like kill him off, you know, comic book wise. Which I was just like, I guess even the show, whatever. I was like, okay, cool. I would have been a little bit understandable about that. That was shocking because he had so many like quote unquote deaths, but anyways, that happened. But then like apparently Carl. the main character of The Walking Dead, especially in the comic book, dies. Dies. Yeah, like the dude literally dies, despite the fact that he has been kept alive, and then is like really, really alive. Like living okay when he's like with his like kid or whatever. When he talks about like what had happened before and during the Walking Dead events with his kid, but in the show he's dead, like straight up dead, and it's just like so dumb. It also reminds me of a Agame got killed too, where the main protagonist is the dude, not Agame, but I guess the people in the show were like misconstruing that with like Agame being the main protagonist, but Good Buddy still gets killed. Although in that show, it's I don't know, it's just a cesspool of a mess sometimes. It's a good show when you don't take it seriously, which at this point I really don't. Like the only characters I kind of like is the dude and the pink hair girl, or sorry, the blue hair girl that's like a bit of a dom. Like I kind of like her, and Agame. Like that's it. And it's just ridiculous. Sorry about the uh glitch there, but besides all that, it's just gone so stupid. It really has. Like I don't know if Marvel will get any better, especially with the comic books. So like, I mean, I hope it does, but it's just like I'm not gonna be too much invested in that if they're not taking their product as seriously. Because like, so far they have not done so whatsoever. So like, it's just tough, man. It really has. So that's why it's like especially again with Spider Man and all this good stuff, I just be like, whatever. And then this weird change up of like changing the X-Men name. I'm like, that is the most iconic name in history, in Marvel history. X-Men. It is like the core group of Marvel. I mean, yes, there's Fantastic Four, of course, the first superhero family, of course, but X-Men is also very, very important because of just so much significant details in there of like characters being like mistreated, mishandled, similar to every minority in the United States. Being treated like absolute garbage, especially when it was like really, really bad in the 20th century. It was just so weird that they're just gonna change up like something like that, iconic, but I don't know, man. It's just disappointing. It really is. I think that's the thing. I want to see things get better, but so far it has not gotten any better. In fact, I feel like it's just gotten worse, and I don't know when this will get any better. I mean, who knows what they're gonna be doing? I mean, heck, they're starting up a new show with Miss Marvel, which is pretty good. But the problem about that is that they killed her off in a Spider-Man comic book where she didn't have any like significant role other than she died in the most stupidest way possible. It was just so dumb. It really is. So I'm just like at this point, dear Marvel, just do better, please. Just do better. Like I don't know what else to say, but just to say maybe actually make a good storyline or make a consistent story because so far there's not been a lot of consistency going on and just sometimes even like so many retcons too where it's just like nothing is the same. So I don't know. It's like they want to keep things like relatively the same and stale and just at this point milking it off. So yeah, man, it sucks because like that's something that I always kind of fear a little bit, even as a writer, is just like putting my work out there, but then say a company gets like my work, but then they completely bastardize the original meaning of my characters and my story and just do it in the most like stupidest way possible. Like I hate when that happens. I'm like, no, let it still be like that. I understand if you want to change some little things up here and there. But if you change it up to the point where it's not even the same story, that's when I have a problem. I'm like, this is not, you know, the story either I written or Stan Lee written or anyone else written. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if they would have like, you know, I don't want to go too deep in this, but like, imagine they would have like, changed up the story of like Harry Potter to something like, a lot more. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like something like it's like super ridiculous. Like, instead of it being like Harry Potter, being the chosen person, it's somebody else that doesn't like make any sort of sense, like Voldemort or Ron. I mean, the thing is, I'm kind of cool with it, but at the same time, I'm like, Harry Potter makes more sense as a main protagonist because the the name value and just because hey, it's his story. So like, I don't know, just imagine if, like the story would have started with like Ron instead of like Harry and stuff or Hermione. Although don't get me wrong, I also love Hermione too, but like again, you know, we need like a really really good like core character. So I don't know. It's just like I wish that some of these characters were like at least like well written, but thus far, even with that, even if you have like a well written character, that could always like be bastardized because they would have like quote unquote change it up to make him better, or even in worst case scenario, just like keep him in status quo for some odd reason and not actually grow it as a character. Because that's one thing that like really really pissed me off as to why they cannot grow Peter Parker as a character is that they would have keep him in status quo. Like it's funny because Dick Grayson, Nightwing himself, in DC, has gone through so much change in his life. He started as the first Robin, the boy wonder, doing his thing, with his surrogate father, Bruce Wayne, Batman, whatever. Been doing all that, been there, done that. Has like fought the who's and what's and hows and why's and why's. He's fought all of them. And then when he got older, when he was like, I don't know, like 16, 18 years old, like when he started to like, live for himself, because of, had a bit of dispute with, Bruce Wayne about like, still staying as Robin or whatever. So he's like, nah, I gotta go. Like, I cannot be held down like this. And then, ends up creating his own team, the Teen Titans, and then just becomes Nightwing and stays Nightwing for pretty much ever. And even though there is like different iterations, like of course Teen Titans Go, where he's like Robin still, but it's like at the core of it, he is Nightwing. That's all we know Dick Grayson as, Nightwing, Dick Grayson, or with the booty or whatever. The girls loving it, but it's just funny because the character himself grows, does not stay the same character. Because if they would have like really go with the whole status quo, you know what they could have ended up trying to do? Keep Dick Grayson as Robin, and anybody else they just cease to exist. I don't know. It's something that's really stupid, and it's just I don't know. It's just a weird obsession that they have where it's like they want to keep Spider-Man young or whatnot. But it's like okay, fine. If that's gonna be the case, you also have a character who fits that description, aka Miles Morales, who is doing hot right now. I mean, seriously, Across the Spider-Verse is doing super amazing. So at this point, if you want to pull the trigger and wanting to reconnect with the younger audiences right now, especially nowadays, why not just push Miles Morales at this point? Like, people are like gravitated a lot towards Miles Morales, especially with his story, especially with Into and Across the Spider-Verse, or he's like best well written in those movies. Hell, even a lot better than the comic books because oh boy, how they're doing, Miles Morales in the comic books is a bit hit or miss at times, but otherwise, the Into and the Across the Spider Verse, they did the character so much justice, and I cannot wait to see more of what they're gonna do with him beyond the Spider Verse. So I'm just like thinking to myself, if they really want to like really pull the trigger on, making like keeping a young, fresh character, especially with Marvel or not, then why not just bring in Miles Morales? Just like push him to the moon finally. Just like you just already did with Peter Parker for so long. Why not just do the same with Miles Morales or Spider Gwen? Because she's also been popping too. Like, come on now. Like at this point, just have them both do their thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh it's so ridiculous, man. It really is, and this is the reason why I kind of just like been tuned out from Marvel because just so much shenanigans, just too much like just forcing things and stuff, and I don't know, man. Like seriously, that situation, especially even with the X-Men, I'm just like, all right, you know what? I can't anymore. I just cannot. So I'm just like, so tuned off of that. And honestly, the only thing I just wish that they can just do is just, with Spider-Man, just like, please just actually age the character and, um, grow, make him grow as, character. And then, like, if you really want to start, really like selling a lot, get Miles Morales. Just, push him to the moon. Finally, like, just do that. And if not, then just, I don't know, have Spider Gwen or Mayday Parker as Spider Girl. Anybody, like, ugh, so dumb. And also, don't change the X Men. Just don't. Just keep it as is. X Men is just fine. You don't need to put X Mutant. You don't have to put any of this other weird nonsense. Like, don't do that. Just keep it as is. X Men. All right. Like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm even sure even they and them will also relate to, feeling outcasted too, because, the mutants have to pretty much deal with that regardless of their, sexuality and gender or whatever. They're pretty much discriminated from human beings because, they have abnormal powers and, they're quote unquote trying to take their jobs because, they have more power than them. And so they get discriminated a lot more. So, you know, the name X Men just has like a lot more meaning to it because of its cultural significance to real life. You know, the whole word art imitates life and life imitates art. It's the same concept. Anyways, I think that's gonna have to be it for this rant because you know it's just disappointing to see what's going on with Marvel. That's really it. Like, I just wanted to do better. The thing is, I like what they're at least sort of doing. I want them to, challenge some things. It's just that the way they're going about it is a bit off at times, and that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not telling them otherwise. Like, oh, they need to like, completely disband. Like, no, I want them to continue to do what they're doing. I just wish that they can like, make better stories. That actually cultivates, the audience or whatnot, especially, the younger audience, since they're that obsessive, especially with, Spider-Man, like, since they're, again, so obsessed with, keeping Spider-Man, like, youthful and whatnot, then why not just have Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen or Mayday Parker as, Spider-Girl or just anybody else or Silk or Spider-Woman, anybody else. I mean, I guess Spider-Woman is a little bit different. Okay, fair enough. But it's just like, you got all other characters that are like relatively young, and you can like I really gonna have to use this word very carefully. You can like groom them to like be better. You know what I'm saying? So just all I'm saying is like you can like so God. Anyways, make them become much better characters over the span of, like a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like again, Miles Morales is hot right now. I mean, he is just super, super duper hot right now. Like, I'm talking about like Across the Spider-Verse is doing absolutely phenomenal. At this point, it would be just a criminal, or it would just be a crime, I should say. It would be the biggest crime to not be pushing Miles Morales right now, especially with very, very successful movie. Like, I don't know if it's just me that's wanting to see more of that, but at last, we will see what Marvel is going to be able to do with all these changes. I just hope it leads into something that's a little bit interesting and just, all I ask just for them is just like, continue what they're, at least sort of doing. Just don't, I don't know. I want them to continue to work on like things and challenge some things and just continue to like grow as like artists and writers and editors or whatever to like continue to push through like barriers to like make something really really cool. Heck, it was a really cool thing even in the 90s too, back when well, I wasn't born in the 90s, but like it was like a cool thing to, be different. Heck, Mortal Kombat was different and still is different because of his violence and grotesque, and it was like just completely out of the norm for everyone else. Where the angry moms and the angry conservative Christians were like saying, "Oh my God, this violent video game is corrupting the youth or whatnot," and while the youth at the time were like, "No, you just like mad because we just having fun." Type of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see that. But nowadays, it's just more conformity, and it's just not a lot of like really good creativity and not really good like stories to like really tell because they want to keep things the same, you know. But at last, we'll see what they're gonna do. I hope that whatever change that they're gonna do, I hope it's for the best. And I don't know what they're gonna do with the X-Men name. Again, I would have to argue that they should never have done that. But you know what? If they want to change the name to something else completely different, fine. But at the same time, how are you gonna like be able to help people recognize who the X-Men are without calling them X-Men? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Well, I think that's gonna have to be it for this rant video. Normally, I'll be like, jolly, good, feeling good, and stay healthy, stay amazing, all the other stuff. But I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling it right now. But yeah, I'm just not feeling, very jolly and very, like uppity. I'm just like, ugh, just annoyed. That's it. I'm not like angry, not mad or whatever. Like not like that. Just it's more like just annoyed. That's it. It really is just annoyance and just a lot of other dumb shit where I'm just like, ugh, this is just stupid. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my points on this. Especially this rant that I've been on and on about. With like Marvel, trying to do this thing. And again, all I gotta say again to Marvel is just whatever you guys are doing, just do better. Like make the stories a little bit more interesting. Drive better sales with that. Hell, you know, if you want to change the name to X-Men, I guess you call it X-Mutant. I don't know. Just like still keep it to the like core. Like if you completely change up like the X-Men from what it is from where it was originally, where it was just about like like characters having to like go through a lot of like problems, then it's just like what is there to like call the X-Men story, especially if you guys are gonna like bring those characters into the MCU. You see what I'm saying? Like it would be even weird to even call it Inhumans too, because the Inhumans already have their own situation going on. So like that would be just ridiculous to call them Inhumans. So like, you know, I just think they should not like change the name. And then with anything else with stories, I just think that they just need to be a little bit more. I don't say action packed, but just like more story driven. Like we need to have like like be related to these characters. Like you know, we really want to know what Thor is usually feeling sometimes. We really want to know what's really going on with Iron Man. Captain America, how he's able to like still be able to keep not I want to say like image, but just like try to like keep a bit of a stoic mindset while having to essentially gravitate towards the modern life, despite it being completely different than how he remembered it from before he was like frozen and whatnot. And just any type of other stuff like that. It would just be nice if we can just be able to relate to these characters again, because so far it just feels like we could not relate to these characters. It just like they're like completely different. It's like they don't even have a soul anymore. So it's just sad to see that. But anyways, I think that's gonna be it for this round. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as best as possible. Let me know in the comments down below again if you agree or disagree with my points. And yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you guys are at. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.